What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Run Pure Sports NBA Hardwood Show. I'm your host, Mangone. I'm here with Hoop. I'm here with AP. We're jumping in a little late, but it's not our fault, so don't blame us. I haven't looked at the chat yet. I don't know if people are saying we're late, but if you are in the chat, please hit that like, hit that subscribe. It helps us out a ton. Notifies when we go live as well. But we just had the Showdown show wrap up with BigT, JSU, and Tambo. Hoop, I mean, of course, we know why that show went long. It was Big T talking football and specifically talking Carson Wentz. No wonder the show went over, right?
God, I mean, did the pants stay on or off? I mean, there's got to be like a wet dream special for Big T. The Colts 10-point favorites here at home, coming off a game they should have won. And I mean, I caught the end of the show, and it was just a circle jerk for the Colts. And the Colts, team looks so good, blah blah blah. I mean, love listening to our product here, but man, I had to hit the mute button a couple of times. I mean, the Colts stroke fest was tough to endure. I mean, of course you're going to be on the Colts tonight. I mean, 10-point favorites at home for Showdown. Yeah, you're going to load up on the Colts, but the boys were getting excited about Carson Wentz and the Colts. That's for sure.
Yep, they were getting excited. AP was not getting excited about Carson Wentz and the Colts. He was getting excited about the Sixers. I mean, he just wants to peel to Thibault with title. He wants to peel to Maxey and Drummond and all those guys. Obviously, we're waiting on news for that game. We're waiting on news for a bunch of games, but that'll be the first one that comes in. If we do get that news while we're on here, it's going to be super important. It's going to be stuff that we are going to talk about. AP, I'll go to you. How are you doing with the Sixers stuff, and are you ready to peel to some NBA tonight?
Yeah, definitely not peeling to Thibault. Good defensive player, but outside of that, not the most exciting dude. He has some good dunks, but he's just not like an offensive guy. You know, he's a def. Can you even call him a 3-and-D guy? He's kind of just a D and then like randomly score type of guy. Who knows?
Yeah, just D. He gets no three, just the D.
Very good defender. So I was just updating the Heat chart. We got a lot of yellow on there. We got some significant news that we're waiting for. And, this slate could be a ton of fun tonight.
Well, AP, say I'm not a member, right? What does yellow mean on the Heat chart? What is the Heat chart? Like, explain it to me. Tell the people what it is and give them a
little. It just gives you a good overview of the slate, mapped out by lock times. We went over it yesterday if you caught the show. It just, it's going to update as we get up to lock. And then, typically through the first slate of games. But yeah, we got big news that we're waiting on. Obviously, Embiid late downgrade to questionable changes the whole slate. The other thing too is LeBron's out, so this, in my opinion, could be a pretty fun slate where we could get some nice edge late.
Yeah, and speaking of nice late edge, we got to get in the Discord chat, right? Discord chat is super important. Helps you guys get all the late breaking news, answer questions. And AP, I think we've been doing a pretty good job with people tilting less in the chat. Wouldn't you agree? I think that's helped out a little bit lately.
Yeah, the chat, shout out to Discord, shout out to the chat. I've been very impressed. But I don't know, our boy K Falik, I think he is the final say with that. We'll have to talk to him to see if the guys have been doing guys and gals have been doing a good job in chat. But for me, it looks good. I'm very excited with how everyone's behaved and asked questions and looked at the content, and things have been very good over the last few days.
Yep, things have been good, and we're going to keep it rolling. Use that code RPS Heater 25, get you 25% off. Let's go over to you, Hoop. Let's just tell them real quick. Now's the time, right? I know MLB Showdown's not here, but college football this weekend, massive MMA card, which you've been killing it in the MMA streets. We got Showdown tonight. I mean, a week from yesterday or last week, you basically crushed it in Showdown, right? So I assume that you'll be coming, trying to bring some more Thursday night winners for the people. We got all the sports for one price. So tell the people a little bit more about that.
Yeah, I mean, been saying it for a while, but not right now is by far the best time to join Run Pure Sports. If you're someone that just kind of hangs out during the YouTube free shows and been thinking about joining, right now is the best time. I mean, with so many different sports going on, obviously NFL Showdown, NBA, NHL, MMA, NASCAR, you name it. We have content for it. Basically anything on DraftKings. We have multiple people covering. I mean, every sport we have multiple people covering, doing content, articles, projections, core plays, cash chart, playbook, everything that you need to be successful in DFS, the Discord chat as well. If you're new and you want to learn some things, and if you're learning new sports, you need to be in the Discord. People talking about every single sport all throughout the day, 24/7. Basically, there'll be someone in there that's willing to talk DFS with you, sports betting with you, everything. So right now, if you use that promo code RPS Heater 25, gets you 25% off your first payment at Run Pure Sports. And like I said, we want to bring you on board, join the movement, run Pure with us. Let's go.
Yep, and we got a great slate for it tonight. I can't wait to break it all down with you guys. It's going to be an awesome one. We got a nice little 5-game slate, and that's nice to break down, right? 11, like yesterday, it's a little chaotic, a little crazy, but we're going to kick it off here with the first game. We got the Sixers. We got the Pistons. AP, I'll go to you. You sound really excited to play some Sixers tonight. I think everyone is excited to play some Sixers tonight. I'm asking you the question. You know, it's going to be in the Discord chat. Everyone's going to be asking it. How many Sixers are too many Sixers here with this Joel Embiid news lurking, AP?
Yeah, I mean, good question, man. Going, you know, we don't usually get that question too often. Yeah, it's going to depend. You know, Joel Embiid midday downgrade to questionable, which makes me feel that, you know, since we're on a second end of a back-to-back, that he's very likely to rest tonight. So what would happen is that sends our boy Andre Drummond to the starting lineup. He's going to get all the minutes. It gives us a really tight rotation. I see maybe 9 or 10 viable guys, and I think they could pull it off. I think you rest Embiid here. Drummond slides in. You're going against, no offense, Hoop, but a shitty Pistons team. I think
none taken. Don't worry.
I figured you wouldn't be offended by that. Yeah, I think these guys can get it done. You know, keep an eye on Korkmaz and Embiid. My thought is, you know, Korkmaz plays and Embiid rests, but I'm gonna build kind of 2 sets of my own personal projections to account for both scenarios. So if Embiid plays, he's an elite play. I mean, he absolutely smashed this Detroit team, 59 fantasy points in 30 minutes. Just had a monster outing, and Drummond's going to be in that same role. Plus, to go along with the revenge narrative, the other guy too, Seth Curry. When Embiid's out, even when Embiid played yesterday, this guy's stepping up, but especially when Embiid's out, he's going to be the other source of offense on this team. He's going to be one of the guys that I over project and make sure I get more exposure to in my lineups.
All right. Well, AP, what about Cade Cunningham on the opposite side? I know Discord chat has been talking about Cade all day long. So mention Cade real quick, because I think he's a good option, but there's a lot of value on the slate where, I mean, we were talking a little on Discord, like, I don't think he's a stone lock because of all the value that we might have. So talk about Cade Cunningham. Would you run it back with him? Are you looking at Killian Hayes as a pivot, or is Jeremy Grant at 6'8" someone else that could be enticing to you?
I mean, look, this is the number 1 overall pick, 6'8" guard who showed an ability to rack up peripheral stats and score in college. And they're going to let him run. You know, we saw it. We saw Casey give him, 29 minutes last game. So you got to think 31 this game. And he's not going to look. He's 3 for what, 22? I mean, that's going to change, and especially going against the likes of this 76ers team, unless they put Thibault on him all game. But still, I think it's a really strong spot for him. I hope people move off, because I'm just going to keep playing him as long as he's underpriced. Like that's what you got to realize. Like for me, it's a usage. It's a what's his upside. What can you do for my lineups? That price, in my opinion, is still way too low. I love the usage he's getting. He's just had 2 really bad games. If you have decent shooting in there, he's going to absolutely smash. So I'm going to be very overweight on Cade.
All right, Hoop, I'm going to go over to you. You can talk about the Pistons, even though there's not much to talk about, but definitely talk about the Sixers and how you're handling them. Another Discord question we might get is, Maxey and Curry, can I play them together? Like, yes, you can play them together. I believe that's the answer. You let me know what you think about that. And how are you handling all of these Sixers? Because this is a spot I think we're going to want to load up on them, especially with this being the first game. It's like value that we know that we're going to have the information on, unlike some later plays, right? DeAndre Ayton, as DC calls him, he might be out, right? But we do not know that. We will know the Sixers news, thankfully, and then we'll be able to react to that.
Yeah, so much news on this slate, and it starts right at the 7 p.m. Eastern game. And what you do in this game on the 76ers side really depends on the status of Joel Embiid. I mean, the question about Maxey and Curry, I mean, as it stands now, if Embiid is in there, no, I don't think you really want to play Maxey and Curry together. If Embiid's out, you're going to have 6, 7 76ers guys that are viable DFS plays tonight. I mean, Maxey, Curry, Thibault, Andre Drummond would turn into a stone lock. I mean, you saw what happened last time. People are talking about, oh, can you fade Drummond at that price tag with Embiid out? The answer is no. And even at the 6.5K price tag, don't fade him if he's out. And Mangone, I mean, I know you get yourself excited to some narratives. I mean, this is a little revenge spot too against that Pistons team that kind of shamed him a little bit. So stone lock if Embiid's out. Niang played really well last night. He got a little bit of a price bump, 4.4K. I think he's in play regardless. I mean, this guy's been solid. He's getting the minutes, 32 last night, shot the ball 12 times. Solid play regardless of the status of Joel Embiid. But really, I mean, this is all about the news. I mean, if Embiid's in, he's in play. If he's out, you're going to look at, probably 6 different 76ers guys that are in play for fantasy purposes. On the Pistons side, Cade Cunningham, it's a silly price tag. And obviously the results, his first 2 games have not been great. Only played 19 minutes that first game, shot 1 for 8. Last game against Milwaukee, shot the ball 14 times. And, I mean, unfortunately only made 2 of them. But this kid's going to be good. He's still only 4K, played 29 minutes, and I agree with AP. I think we can see him get into the low 30s tonight. And he's going to have a big game at some point. He's capable of contributing across the board, scoring, rebounding, assists. His length will get him some blocks, will get him some steals. He's going to have some massive fantasy games this season, especially with this team. Who knows what it is the first 2 games? Is it nerves? Very possible. I mean, it could be nerves. I don't know what it is. He's a much better shooter than 2 for 2, or what is he? He's 3 for 22 to start the year. That's gonna flip at some point. He's gonna have a massive game, and you want to be on him. The hope is that people played him the first 2 games, got burned, and don't want to go back to him. But 4K for Cade Cunningham is way too cheap. Just a phenomenal play. But that's probably it though for the Pistons. I guess maybe Kelly Olynyk a little bit. I don't know. I mean, actually, no. I don't want to play Olynyk. It's really just going to be Cunningham for me on the Pistons side. 76ers side though, it depends what happens with Embiid. If he's out, we got a bunch of guys. If he's in, I still like Niang, Maxey, maybe a little Shake Milton, Thibault potentially. But if he's out, we're loading up here on the 76ers.
Yeah, so we got news on Embiid. He intends to play, whatever that means, right? We'll see. I mean, he could intend to play, but also could not be cleared, right? I mean, it just sounds stupid, but we'll see. That's 2 hours before. We'll probably get
worst possible. That's the worst possible update right there. He intends to play, whatever that means. That's awful for us.
But let me ask you an interesting tournament question, because I noticed this the other day, and this slate is a little different than the other one. If you remember the Andre Drummond slate a couple days ago, we had a lot of centers that you could play, right? But Drummond was 95% owned in a tournament. It was like the monster, I think, on FanDuel. And that's a little different because on DK, you can play 2 centers, right? You can play a center, you can play a utility. Now, my question to you is, on a site like FanDuel, if let's say Embiid was out, what ownership would you fade Andre Drummond? Would it be 99%? Would it 95? Is that enough? I was curious because when I saw 95%, I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy, because that is a crazy number, but it is Andre Drummond. And we have a slate where John Collins, he is questionable. If he doesn't play, obviously Capella could do something and have a really big game. Then you got Rudy Gobert, who could have a really big game with no Donovan Mitchell. And if you have Ayton out, as DC calls him, that's what I'm calling him here from now on. You got Frank Kaminsky, you have JaVale McGee, and you have Gobert going up against those guys. So, what ownership would you fade Andre Drummond in this absolutely amazing spot?
I'm such the wrong person to ask in that question. So, you know me, I'm jamming. Yes. I'm just playing those guys. In those spots. This is
what I wonder at 99%. What would you do? Because I saw 95 and I really sat and thought about it. I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. He's 95. Yeah. That's insane. But it is Andre Drummond.
I guess the argument is injuries or, foul trouble or something like that. But for me, I'm just playing those guys. I mean, maybe AP has a different opinion, but for me, I'm just playing them.
AP on a site like FanDuel, where you can only play 1 center, right? DK, it's a little different because you can get 2 centers in there. What would you do? Would you fade him at like 95%? Would you play him at 99? Of course, Embiid is intending to play, so we don't know what's going to happen. But I'm just curious for a game theory question for you.
I'm kind of like Hoop. Like, I don't know. I'm not the best person to ask that question, but yeah, there's some merit in fading him at a certain ownership point. Like if he's 100% owned, there's some other things that come into play. All right. I think with this news, here's how I usually interpret this when we get kind of weird wording. I work under the assumption now that Embiid's going to play. And if he's going to play, unless we get a minutes restriction or some type of notice, I'm going to assume that he gets his normal workload, which I would think would be around 30 to 33 minutes against this Pistons team, depending on how close the game is. So I think people might be a little hesitant. I'm tagging him as an elite tournament play, and I'm tagging Drummond as kind of a fade now. But again, you got to check, as we get closer to lock, news could change, obviously, but that's kind of how I interpret this news right now.
It is on the second night of a back-to-back. So I do worry a little bit about Embiid's minutes. I think in tournaments, like you said, he could be a really great play at low ownership, but I definitely have some concerns with Embiid. I know he's someone that popped on a lot of optimals yesterday, and I think he could easily on FanDuel. We'll have to see. Hoop, with this news, anything else you want to say? It seems like he's going to play, but do you worry about the minutes like myself, or are you more with AP? You're just like, okay, he'll play his minutes and be fine.
I'm a little more worried. The wording just seemed he intends to play, and it's the first back-to-back for the 76ers. If it's a close game, if it's a close competitive game, I think there's probably a chance he plays like into the 30s. But if there's any opportunity to get him out of this thing and keep his minutes in the upper 20s, they're going to do that. So I think there's probably much better spends on this slate. But in tournaments, you want to go there and thinking that this game does stay close, which it probably does. It's a back-to-back for the 76ers. The Pistons do suck, but it is a back-to-back, and you always see these teams kind of, slow down a little bit on the second end of the back-to-back. I'm a little nervous though about the situation.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Let's talk about the Jazz. Let's talk about the Hawks. And hey, we got Donovan Mitchell's a guy who might not play here in this spot. They're going up against the Hawks, and the Hawks got John Collins is questionable. So we're waiting on some more news here. This game is 30 minutes after the Sixers game. Hopefully we'll have the news in time. AP, I'm going to go over to you. If Donnie Mitchell gets rolled out, this is a great spot for Mike Conley at his price. Bogdanovich, Joe Ingles, Jordan Clarkson, all those guys are going to get nice bumps. And Rudy Gobert at center could definitely be an interesting option. What are you doing here with the Jazz, and how are you handling the Hawks here in this matchup at home?
Yeah, I think this game's obviously much easier to break down if all of these pieces play. I'll most likely avoid this spot. I'm sure a few guys like Bojan, Hunter, some of the cheaper guys that are getting minutes would hit some builds of mine. But if Mitchell's in, I don't really feel the need to play any of these guys. Capella is not an easy matchup for Gobert. I'm not a Gobert guy typically either, even though he's having a good year. So I would prefer to go elsewhere outside of him. And then I don't like attacking him. And the other thing too is like Capella with Collins out there. Their style of offense is a little bit different. If Collins is out, we see a little bit more, pick and roll play between Young and Capella. But again, you got Gobert down there in the paint, going to make it very difficult on him. So, the main news for me is Mitchell. And if he's out, that bumps up Ingles, bumps up Clarkson, bumps up Conley. I'm looking at those three guys. Royce O'Neal is basically a 3-and-D guy. You need him to be extremely efficient to get there. We haven't really seen it at all this year. So he's always a guy just under project and move on. So for me, if Mitchell's out, it's Ingles, Clarkson, and Conley.
All right, we got a 220 total, and this is the highest total on the slate, Hoop. Not to say the totals are everything in the NBA. They matter a little bit. I think usage and minutes matters way more, but it is a massive total. It's the highest one on the slate. What are you doing here with the Jazz and the Hawks?
Yeah, another game where the news really dictates everything. On the Hawks side, if John Collins plays, the Hawks are an easy fade. I don't think there's any reason to play these guys. Trae Young has a full price tag at 9.9. Capella on a back-to-back worries me a little bit, and going up against Gobert. Excuse me. If Collins is out, I still don't know how much interest I really have in the Hawks. We already have, some significant injury news with LeBron James being out, a situation where the 76ers continue to be thin. I don't want to overreact on Collins being out. So most likely, regardless of the Collins situation, I'm probably going to be fading most of the Hawks guys. Now on the Jazz, the Donovan Mitchell thing is absolutely huge. Like if he sits, this is slate changing news because we're immediately going to be looking to some of these Jazz guys in a close game, highest total, like you said. Jordan Clarkson, probably the first guy. Jordan Clarkson, then Ingles gets a nice boost, Conley, and even Bogdanovich I like as well. So all four of those guys would immediately be plays for me. Royce O'Neal, I agree with AP. I just don't think, there's not much on this team, not many injury situations that would bump O'Neal to be a solid play, especially where we already have a lot of value and we don't need to really risk his price tag. But Clarkson, Ingles, Conley, Bogdanovich, all big boosts. I'll probably still be off of Gobert. I mean, 8-6. I'll pass on him. I think there's other ways I want to go if I'm spending all the way up. But immediately we get a ton of mid-range value if Mitchell is out 30 minutes after lock, like you said. Probably will get the news before the slate starts. So that's also encouraging. But we really need to wait on the news here and see what happens. If Mitchell's in, this game is probably mostly a fade for me.
All right, guys, hit that like, hit that subscribe. It helps us out a ton. We got 400 watching. We got 112 likes. So got to get those up a little bit. And then also I want to talk about some of the content we have at Run Pure Sports. We got coming up after us. We got the final countdown show. It's a premium show. You'll have Holden, you'll have DC, and you'll have Bobby Gomes. They'll be breaking it all down for you, leading you up to lock. And you'll have all the core plays up that you can check out, BigT, JSU, and then you can slide on over to the Showdown stuff and take care of the NFL stuff. So, hey, it's a great time to be a member over at Run Pure Sports. Use that code RPS Heater 25. Get you 25% off your first payment. AP, let's go over to you for the next game. Up next, we got the Celtics. We have the Heat. And man, the Celtics, they have had some problems. They don't have a leadership council to guide them. They just have to have a nice little team meeting and figure it out. And so far, it's gone well. Marcus Smart is not happy. Marcus Smart said that Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, they're shooting too much. We're way too telegraphed. Do you think this is a day where maybe Marcus Smart can pop off? Or maybe we're going to stop seeing Al Horford run the offense finally? There's a lot of guys that have done pretty well so far in the Celtics and a lot that have suffered. How are you handling these two studs in Brown and Tatum? Start there.
Yeah, I mean, it's more of a function of who they're playing tonight. This Miami team defensively is by far the best team in the league. It's like, the Mavs the other night, I was watching that game. They were just hitting everything offensively and having the best game. Like they were having like such a good game. It still didn't matter. The Heat, they stuck to it on the defensive end of the court. They caught back up with Hero lighting it up off the bench. He's been incredible this season. So I just have not been attacking this Heat team, and it's paid off nicely. I haven't really even been playing the Celtics that much. There is a little bit of dysfunction going on in this team, and it's kind of obvious, I do think Marcus Smart kind of calling him out was probably a good thing and needed to happen because down the stretch, it was obvious. like how you play this team is okay. Let's go double Tatum and Brown because we know they're going to get the ball. We know no matter what, they're going to shoot it, even if they're double teamed. So let's go do that. And that's why we saw, I think it was the Bulls come back. They were down like 20 plus points and they came back and ended up winning by like 10. So I think the Heat get it done here. I have no interest in the Celtics. Tatum and like Brown are priced up too. Like you're paying almost 10K for Tatum against the likes of Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker. Like he's going to get nothing inside going against Bam. I think if anything, the Celtics haven't prior to the other day or yesterday when they played, but it was the Magic. I mean, they looked better defensively then. And this team on paper should be good defensively. Al Horford, Tatum, Brown, Smart, and Big Bob Williams down there in the paint, they should be a good defensive team. So I'm going to underproject everyone in this game, and I'm going to be underweight on it.
Even the Heat side, you're not going to have any interest in them, or you're still going to underproject them?
I mean, it so depends on like the news because some of these other spots, in my opinion, are just so much better. Like if If DeAndre Ayton sits, if obviously LeBron's out, that boosts up both sides of that game. Tyler Hero, I mean, he's been so good, but can he keep this up? His efficiency, you rarely see it. Like eventually, these guys kind of, settle back down and land, and you don't see such high of an efficiency. So Bam, maybe a little bit interesting, but Jimmy is priced way up there. He's priced appropriately, and they're healthy. So yeah, I'm comfortable being underweight this game on both sides.
I do like Hero on DK at 6-7. And the reason why is he's just going to be like a way to get different, right? Especially because I feel like a lot of people are spending down at shooting guard. So if you did plug him in, I think he's a really good leverage option that you can consider. And yes, I agree with you. It is tough to keep putting up this performance, but the way he's playing, I don't want to, doubt against him. He's just been incredible. Hoop, I'll go over to you. Celtics, what do you like in this game? What do you not like? Break it down for me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree basically with what AP said on the Celtics side. I mean, the prices, they're kind of just priced out. I mean, I just can't imagine playing 8-9 for Jaylen Brown, 9-8 for Tatum against the best defense, in my opinion, best team in the league. I just can't imagine that doing that. And the Heat have been phenomenal all around, but their defense has been very good. So I'm not paying that price tag. The guy I have been playing quite a bit is Al Horford, who just crushes like every single night. He's like a lock for 40 fantasy points. Problem is the spot's not great and the price tag is now elevated. Robert Williams, and he's just so dependent on the steals and blocks. He sucks if Horford's in. Some of those big games he had early on in the season were when Horford was out. Horford's going to play. I'm just not playing any of these guys here. There's just no reason to do so. On the Heat side, I disagree a little bit. I really like Tyler Hero on DK at 6.7. He just continues to play phenomenal basketball. I think he's really good. I think he's one of the big reasons this team is having so much success early on. So I think he's going to play at 6-7. I like him. I like Bam too at 8-1. I think Bam is also a solid play. It is hard to play Jimmy at 9-6. I mean, I've been playing a lot of Jimmy Butler, but the 9-6 price tag makes it hard, especially with LeBron James ruled out. And, you're probably going to want to go to one of the Lakers guys as a spend. So tough to get there. Probably won't go to the 7-7 price tag on Kyle Lowry. Duncan Robinson, it's just, we're going to have better value than Duncan Robinson. Love the Miami Heat as a team. I bet Jimmy Butler have you got on that at all, Mangone? Jimmy Butler MVP. I bet it a few days ago. I think it has a chance to be a pretty good bet.
Yeah, I don't mind it. Like I definitely have seen some people talk about it and I was like, yeah. It's nice, but I didn't feel like I needed to jump on it. The injury stuff can be concerning with Jimmy. He always finds a way.
He definitely does always find a way to get hurt. But man, if he stays healthy and this team continues to play like they're playing, I mean, he's going to be there. I also bet a future on them to win the championship as well. I'm very high on this team. They're like 16-1. I mean, it's not great, but I think they're the best team right now in the NBA.
The other thing too is like the new rules that benefits it. Everyone's talking about like how the rules like hurt Trae Young and these shooters. It benefits the Heat big time. So I love that bet. I think that's
because they have none of those guys that are going to be negatively affected by the rule changes. And I mean, if you watch the games, you can see they're monitoring this stuff closely. But I mean, Butler, Hero, Bam, it just seems like they just good connection, good chemistry. But yeah, for tonight, it's just going to be Hero on DK, and I think Bam is a fine play. I mean, he's very safe to get around 40 fantasy points. Started out slow last game, and then just kind of it seems like he's a second half guy. He always just kind of crushes in the second half. So no Celtics, and then just those couple guys on the Heat side for me.
All right. We got not much else to say about that game. We're about 3 games through. We got 2 more left. And listen, we could easily be out of this really quick, Hoop. We got about 450 watching. We got 138 likes. So, how are we doing on the likes here? Let me know. And then we only got 2 games left. So this could go real quick. And then plays of the day could just be out the window.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, we have the NFL Showdown going tonight. So this NBA 5-game slate is a little overlooked, I think, for DFS people, but there's always money to be made. We're all three of us very passionate about NBA DFS. So we appreciate everyone being here. you know, 450 watching, just get us to 250 so we can get to the plays of the day. And I hope this is the only time we have to reference it and we look back and these numbers just start soaring. Get us to the 250. We'll provide the winners. It's a mutually beneficial situation.
Yep, agreed. And hey, listen, I know everyone wants to watch Big Mike White play tonight. I mean, he is just the staple of the NFL, along with MVP Carson Wentz. No wonder no one wants to watch NBA tonight. They are all locked in on the Jets and the Colts. What a game. Actually, Hoop, I'll ask you this. Survivor, you're in a couple of those. Are you playing the Colts tonight? I cannot because I don't have many more, but I figured they're going to be popular in that contest, right?
One of my team, I already played them on one. I'm playing them on the one I haven't though. I'm going to play them, and then I think Dallas looks pretty good this week too. So I'm kind of what are you on?
I don't know yet, but I will say AP's Kansas City Chiefs are staring me in the face a little bit because, man, if you can't get past Jordan Love, AP, I mean, you probably don't deserve to be in the NFL, right?
Yeah. I mean, if they lose on Sunday, I will apologize to everyone. You won't hear another thing about Patrick Mahomes, about the Chiefs.
Wow.
The rest of the season, I'm not done. I'm a homer, longtime fan. Got through the rough years and stuff, but I've been talking them up. So I mean, I think they obviously should get it done. I'm a little bummed. I did want to see, everyone wanted to see Rodgers and Mahomes, but again, the Mahomes games have been kind of boring of late because these defenses play prevent defense, and for some reason, the only offense that can't figure out how to beat a prevent defense is the Chiefs. So maybe Bobby Gomes out there, maybe he was right.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the Chiefs are solved. Maybe Andy Reid is not as sharp as we all think. Who knows?
I think we started to see the blueprint though this week, which is just a ton of the short stuff to Tyreek Hill. I mean, it's literally impossible. It's impossible for any defense to stop him from the short stuff. So if their defenses are going to play him like this, he's going to get 10 to 12 catches every single game.
They'll be fine. I'm not too worried. You'll see in December. They'll be back. They'll be in the playoffs, and everyone will be saying, if Mahomes gets hot, it's over. That's what always happens. It's all you need. I'm a Packers fan, and yes, Rodgers he only got the job done once, but you always knew that if you make the playoffs, you have a guy that can just carry you. It's very simple. But
it's not, hey man, going, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. You know that, right?
That's very true. If you remember the Bucks last year, Hoop, if you remember, how bad were the Bucks last year at this time? Everyone was writing them off. Even myself, Tom Brady sucks, this, that, and then they end up being the winner. So you never know. Injuries can happen throughout the year, and maybe you guys get guys that are healthy. So we'll see. But that was a nice little break from the NBA. Let's head back in and let's talk about the Houston Rockets and the Phoenix Suns. And man, we got a long layaway from 7:30 Eastern to 10 o'clock for this game. I'm sure there'll be people in the Discord chat asking for some core plays for the night slate. I'm sure there'll be K Fallick in there or someone else giving out some core plays tonight for the people. And we got the Rockets and Suns. And this is a good one because we got some injury news. If DC's boy DeAndre Ayton is going to be out, we got McGee, we got Frank the Tank, who had a massive game. I mean, I thought he could get some run, but I didn't realize he'd get 28 minutes and drop 35.25 fantasy points. JaVale McGee's asthma could not handle it enough, so he only got 19 minutes. But those are going to be two really good value plays that you have to consider. And you have to consider the studs in Chris Paul and Devin Booker at 8.5 and 8.7 because we want to target the Rockets. And yes, we also want to play some of these Lakers studs against another team we want to target, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it's tough to make this decision. AP, I'll go to you. What are you doing with the Suns value and what are you doing with the Suns spend ups here?
Yeah, the rotation is kind of a concern, and you nailed it right there with, so like Kaminsky would be, I mean, man, he looked good. I was obviously not on him. I was with everyone else kind of on McGee there. And we thought in that matchup, Kaminsky would have just gotten destroyed by Joval, but you're right. Like McGee just couldn't handle the minutes. You got to figure it would be the same here. Matchup wise, Christian Wood, he's not like an in the paint guy. He likes to get out in the perimeter, take some threes and stuff. So matchup wise, it could be a matchup to where McGee, his minutes are somewhat risky. So I don't think I would auto lock him in there. I think Booker becomes a good play. Booker Booker and Paul are fine. They're priced a little bit higher than what I would like. They seem to be kind of low floor. decent ceiling players. But at 8-7, 8-5, I mean, if this was like a 10-game slate, if they beat me, they beat me. But since it's 5 games, since the Rockets don't play a lot of defense, I'll have a little bit of interest there. So I think I have both projected a little over 40 points. So we'll see where they land in the optimizer. But yeah, a lot of news to wait for there. Kevin Porter, not the easiest matchup, but at 6'4", I kind of like him. He's a guy that can get hot, and when he gets going, he's got some nice upside. I think he's a good tournament play. Him and Jalen Green are just, the Rockets, the record doesn't look good at all, but if they could get one more piece, I think it was me and Kay Fallick were talking about it in Discord, the perfect fit for this team, and I kind of want your guys' opinion on this, but like when you think of Ben Simmons, he doesn't fit a lot of good teams. Like he doesn't fit with a lot of teams because he's not an offensive guy. You want him for his defense. You want him for kind of directing traffic. He would be so perfect on this Rockets team because he's tall, he's big, he's very good defensively. They have no good defenders except for, Theis. Maybe he's decent, but I think that would be one guy who could have instant impact. And then the Rockets, might not be as bad. Maybe it's a stretch to think, but Kevin Porter has shown decent talent at time. Jalen Green, obviously a young guy, was really good in the G League. Has already had a few good games this year, but he's a guy that can get going. But tonight for DFS, it's tough. I think Wood in tournaments, I think KPG in tournaments is kind of where I'm at.
So here's my question on your question, AP. How did the Rockets get Ben Simmons? Like, what do they have?
I don't know. I'm not good at that stuff. I'm not good at trade stuff.
I just don't think
I spend all my time looking at DFS stuff. That's my problem. I don't have enough time to look at trade type stuff.
No, I like the fit, but I just don't know. Like that's always one of the things people always say, oh, this guy here would be great. I'm like, well, they got to give something. So I don't know what they could give. Maybe a dusty Eric Gordon, out of vet to a team that's trying to win a title, and some picks and another young player, but I don't know who. What do you think of that fit though? Ben Simmons over on the Rockets. What do you think about that?
I don't think Ben Simmons would be a fit on any team in the NBA, and that's why his ass is still just sitting there not playing. I mean, he's just not good at he's just not good at basketball. I mean, he sucks. So, for me, I don't think so. But who knows? I mean, never know.
I need to call it a chatter though. Mr. Kevin Fallick says, "I wonder where AP got that thought from." He just gave you credit, Kevin.
Yeah, he gave Kay Fallick like full credit.
Kevin, get out of here with that crap. We go take a lap.
Kay Fallick never listens to me anyway. So
I was wondering.
He literally just has this mutes AP, and then we'll chime in with something else. So yeah, come on, Kay Fallick. I gave you all the credit.
Yeah, I mean, quick lap, Kay Fallick, put that thing on pause, come back, put it on 1.5 speed like myself, and listen and catch back up.
Maybe that was the issue. Maybe he added on that.
Could be the case.
He missed it because, Go and talks too fast. Talking on 1.5.
All right, Hoop, let me go over to you. I got the Wood the other night from Christian Wood. He helped get it home for me. I mean, him.
Yeah, I had him on that winner, right? On that team that printed.
Yeah, I think one reason I kind of made this, I was switching some stuff around. I wanted to get the Sun stuff in, but one of the things I noticed when I was kind of building around is I was like, there is some built-in equity if Daniel Theis is out. Like, this dude's a fantasy point per minute, right? Like, he does put up a ton of volume and rebounds and points, and that could go to Christian Wood. And that was a game where I felt like KPJ could feast on Russell Westbrook with the steals. So I did think that played into some of my decision making. And we have Daniel Theis as questionable again. So I do think in tournaments, you can't ignore the ceiling of Christian Wood, especially on FanDuel Hoop, where he's 7.9K. DK, 8.8, it's a little bit tougher. So talk about some of these Rocket guys and then go into the value plays with the Suns.
And his style fits FanDuel a little bit more with the steals and blocks and all that, and price tag's better. So yeah, on FanDuel, sure. Theis out again. This, how do you pronounce this guy's name? Alperen Sengun? I have no idea, but 4.1K. Sengun.
That's what our boy Spread told me. Sengun.
Okay. Sengun. Yeah. All right, cool.
That's what we don't even try the first name. Just Sengun. It's too good.
Sengun. Perfect. 26 minutes actually last game. Almost 26 minutes with Theis out. Yeah, 17 fantasy points. Not great, but if you're going to play 26 minutes, 4.1K, I think we can at least consider him as another value play. And this would only be a situation if we don't get Donovan Mitchell out, if we don't get, Embiid out, well, it sounds like Embiid's going to play. If we're missing out on some of this value we thought we might have, if we don't get Ayton out, and we can't play McGee and Kaminsky, Sengun is a guy that maybe we can consider in replace of those guys. On the Sun side, it comes down to Ayton. Is he in? Is he out? If he's in, I think he's a fine play at 6.6K, good price tag. Had been playing well prior to sitting out. If he's out, McGee and Frank the Tank are immediate value plays, two of the better value plays on the slate. Kaminsky 3.5, McGee 3.9, just both very solid plays if Ayton's out. This game is 3 hours after lock, like you said, so there's a good chance that we don't have this news. That's what makes this slate a little bit challenging. This game is 2.5 hours after the next closest game. So if we build based on Ayton being out, what do we do with McGee and Kaminsky? Do we have to go to a guy like Sengun? Is there anyone in this final game that we can potentially play a swap? So it's only a 5-game slate, but I think there's definitely some strategy to this slate in figuring out what to do with some of this later injury news.
Yeah, we also got some more injury news. Bogdan Bogdanovic. So I believe that is the Hawks one. Am I correct? Bogdan is the Hawks one?
Hawks.
All right, he is questionable. So, yes, the Hawks are one of the deeper teams in the league, but AP, I'll go to you real quick. Does that change anything? If you have Bogdanovic out and Collins, that's going to open some things up for Trae Young or even some of these bench guys. I think Cam Reddish would become in play at a value at 4.6. I think Kevin Huerter at 3.9 could be interesting on DK. So I think there is some opportunity here. What do you think?
Yeah, I would give bumps to all the value pieces here. Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter. Hunter had a phenomenal game. 10 for 11.
He's 4K.
Yeah, the thing about him, he gets no peripheral stats. He's all scoring. That's the one risk with him. But maybe that opens up a little bit. Obviously, if Collins is out, if Bogdan's out. But yeah, significant news here that we got to wait for. We should have this news before lock, I would assume, with it being at 7:30. But yeah, it's gonna be, for a 5-game slate, we're gonna have to, it's hopefully in Discord, keep, if you're in there asking I think about the questions you ask, get on there, get on the site, look at the content before you go in and ask some random question I don't know, Jalen Tatum versus Jalen, guys that we aren't even on. So just because it is going to be a night where we got to process a lot of news, that takes time. And every little piece of news, since it's a 5-game slate, impacts the whole slate. So this Bogdan news impacts what we're going to do elsewhere on the slate. So it's all very important, and we got to be able to process it to make sure that we are on the best place.
Yeah, here's another question that'll be tough to answer, right? If you say should I play Kevin Porter and JaVale McGee or DeAndre Hunter and Anthony Davis? I know it's a matchup completely, but basically the answer is going to be, we don't know what's going to happen with McGee. We need the news, right? So make sure we got to get that news before we can answer those questions, because if you get that news and it doesn't go your way, well, now you have to find a pivot, and that can put you in a bad spot. So instead of asking that, look to see what your pivot could be if it doesn't work, right? That way you have an option to go to. I think that's super important. Hoop, any final thoughts here? You want to go on the last game, talking the Thunder and the Lakers?
Yeah, I said if Collins in or out really doesn't matter all that much. Now, if you take a second guy and take him out, then yeah, if both these guys were to miss, I think we're looking at some big boosts for guys like DeAndre Hunter, potentially Cam Reddish, Kevin Huerter. Those are some of the names that would become plays. So if two of these guys are out, much more significant than just one of them being out. So either way, I want 2 out before I'm coming to the Hawks tonight.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about the Thunder. Let's talk about the Lakers. Hoop, I'll go right back to you. We got Westbrook and Davis as 2 really good spend-up options. We got Malik Monk, obviously, is a cheap guy you can go to, but Avery Bradley has slid in there a little bit and taken some minutes. There are guys that we need to consider here. And Carmelo Anthony is always willing to chuck the ball up if he gets some time. But Russell Westbrook gets that revenge game. Price is up, though. It's 10.7. We have a bunch of value on the slate. Who are you prioritizing first? Is it Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and then break down the value?
Yeah, I mean, I think in most of your lineups, you're going to want one of these guys with LeBron out. I mean, I think Westbrook gets the bigger boost with LeBron out. I mean, these guys are kind of competing for ball control. With LeBron out, Russell Westbrook gets all that ball control. He gets to run this offense, doesn't have to worry about sharing it with LeBron. So I think Russ would be my lean, but Anthony Davis is a phenomenal play too. Both these guys are great plays. And like I said, in most of your lineups, I think you want at least one of these guys. Malik Monk was a guy we were going to before, but like you said, Avery Bradley's kind of been poking his head in here a little bit. I mean, he sucks, but I mean, they're using him for different purposes. Carmelo Anthony, I think, is a fine tournament option. If Carmelo Anthony's on the court, he's looking to do one thing: it's chuck the basketball, and he'll have more of an opportunity to do that with LeBron James out. On the Thunder side, the guy that's been very impressive to start the season is this Josh Giddey guy. I mean, he's been phenomenal. I mean, very steady producer in terms of playing time, in terms of actual fantasy points. The last 5 games, they've been under 27 fantasy points. That's great for his price tag. Definitely like Giddey on the Thunder side. But honestly, that's probably it on the Thunder side. Lakers, obviously, these guys get big boosts. I prefer Russ, but Russ and AD are both really, really good plays tonight.
Yep, Russ and AD are both really, really good plays. You have to consider them. And AP, I'll go to you. They're going to be good spend ups, right? We need to consider both those options. How are you breaking it down here? Are you spending up for these guys, or are you spending for some other studs instead?
I mean, the most noticeable thing here, and hopefully our boy Spread is out there listening, but why are we not pounding the over here? The over in a Lakers game like this number has hit in every single game except for one. That was against the Rockets. LeBron being out, in my opinion, is a boost to the over because the ball is going to be in Russ's hands. We know he's a very fast player. He helps to boost pace. Just go and look at some of the scores when they played the Rockets, 119 to 117. The last time they played the Thunder, 123 to 115. When they played the Spurs, 125 to 121. I mean, the Lakers just don't play defense. Their defense takes a big hit when LeBron's out as well. And it's going to be Russ needing to get buckets. I think AD is going to have a big game. And I think, I think the Thunder can keep this close enough. I'm not confident in the side at all because down the stretch, Lakers are just going to get it done and pound them. But I could see a little game stack here working with SGA, with Josh Giddey. As Hoop said, Giddey's been incredible. He's going to be a guy that keeps them in this one. Same thing with Shea if they're playing well. So you could stack it up with like Russ, Shea, and Josh Giddey. Maybe get AD in there too, and then build around some values from the early games. And I might go with that route and just kind of bet on a nice scoring environment here. So I'm a little surprised by the total. Maybe my read is off. But man, when I look at this Lakers team, I see a poor defensive team. You get Carmelo in there. That's not helping your defense out at all. Hopefully Giddey, hopefully Shea, and Darius Baisley has kind of come to life a little bit. The other news that I would like that would help the over even more is if Lou Dort is out, because that's just another defensive piece that would be out of this game, which would just make it all offense, in my opinion. So that's kind of where I'm at. Like the game. I think it's going to be great for fantasy, and I like the overs here.
All right, Hoop. So let me give a check on the likes. Let's see how the people have been doing. We're at 220. We got like 500 watching. So what's the word here? I mean, we're getting close to the end. I don't know if you want to stall for the people a little bit or you want to give the plays. What's the word here?
Yeah, I mean, been going for almost an hour. I mean, I said 250 or we're going to get out. I mean, we'll give them one final chance to get here. If not, we'll be putting the plays in the Discord premium chat. So it's very simple. If we don't get to 250, we'll just go to Discord with the plays of the day, which is always not good mojo, I guess is the best way to put it. Not good mojo when we got to take the plays to the Discord.
No, not good mojo. We don't want to bring that mojo into the final countdown show with Holden, with DC, with Bobby Gomes. We don't want to do that. I saw someone in the Discord chat say, hey, Bobby, you helped me with the 2v2 yesterday and it helped get me over the finish line in quintuple ups, right? Got the 4X, which, hey, who doesn't love the 4X, right? That's always a good night in DFS.
For sure.
So listen, we want Bobby Gomes to be able to be bringing you those winners and be excited to. So we need to get that good mojo going. And we're at 233, so they're moving along here. Hoop, give me the final word. What we're supposed to do? Are we put in the chat, or are we just going to give them a little bit more time?
I'll give, I guess, a little more time, but we've been pretty lenient. I thought 250 was a nice number. We're at 244, 240 or 242. They're going to get us to the 250. So let's get into the plays. How about that? They're going to get us there. I have confidence.
We'll get into it. We'll go to AP. AP, plays of the day. Who do you got? Who is your guy that you are going to go here? Give me your play of the day.
Yeah, so I think this guy is going to fly a little bit under the radar. But again, I mean, Russ, I'm not, Russ is too obvious, obviously. But, I like the strategy of playing point guards against each other. I think it's a nice tournament strategy, especially when you get the right game environment, which we could. Russ is good offensively, hasn't been as strong on the defensive end of the court. I think SGA is going to need a really big game tonight to keep this one close. I'm not like SGA has always been a guy that's kind of tilted me, but he's shown the ability to play a little bit better. I think him and Giddey are doing a good job at taking turns running this team. Usually one of them is on the court at the same or at a time, and so that's really helped them offensively. As gross as it sounds with when we're talking about the Thunder, but SGA 8.4K on DraftKings is going to be my play of the day.
Hoop, before I go to you for your play of the day, I'm just going to say this. We got Spencer in the chat saying you give the plays regardless. You know what, Spencer? Next time, I'm not stalling for you, and you can all blame Spencer. Spencer is getting it, and you guys can all go at him and blame him for it. And same with B-Fam. You give him regardless. I try to help.
Or we shut it down now and post it in the Discord. We do that.
I'll let you know. I don't want to not reward the people who did it today. I run the ship a bunch of days. I think definitely going to cut it close next time. I'm just going to cut the cord, and we're just going to get out of here instead next time.
All right. If they're going to call out or your generosity, I mean, next time we just won't be as generous. So everyone can thank what's the guy's name? Spencer. You guys can all thank Spencer. Yeah, when we pull the plug and don't stall for you guys to get to the number. And you guys are making a nice push. We're up at 270 now.
He's a sub. He is a sub, and he did give us a like.
Well, so yeah, he's on the other side. He wants the place to go into the Discord.
There we go, Spencer.
I see what he's doing. It's a good move on his part. The rich parents play of the day. I'm going to go in that first game. I'm going to go Niang as my guy. 4.4K. Got the price increase from yesterday. Just playing phenomenal basketball. I do think there's some sort of chance that even if Embiid does play, they're not going to push the minutes on him, and Niang would really benefit from that as well. So give me Niang as the rich parents play of the day.
There you go. It's Niang. For me, I'm gonna go with Mr. Tyler Hero. I think it's a really good spot for him. Spending up at shooting guard is gonna be a little bit different. Everyone's gonna plug Cade in and all these other guys, and if you just do that, from there you can just fill your lineup out with all the good plays, not worry too much about it, and call it a day, and he can break the ceiling.
Now they just updated Embiid again. Now he's back to a game time decision.
He's gonna sit. Let's give our predictions on that. I think he's going to sit.
Yeah, you realize it's going to be all season long. They did it all season last year. They're going to do it again this season. Every single game, we're going to be sweating what Embiid does. I think he sits too. Someone probably asked him if he's playing it. Oh yeah, I'm going to play. And yeah, it's frustrating. I think he sits too now.
It's funny when you guys were doing that, I wasn't paying attention completely. And I was like, I definitely know no one said Tyler Hero though. I thought maybe I said your play because I saw your guys' reaction. You were just like, no. I was very confused at what was happening, and then I was like, oh, okay, good, Embiid. So I did not.
The good thing is, like, Embiid typically plays at 7 p.m. Eastern. So either way, we're going to get the news. But they do withhold it usually pretty darn late and close to lock. So. Another reason to get in our Discord chat, if you're not a member, join now. RPS Heater 25 is the promo code. You get that up to lock show every day with, usually JSU, BigT holding on there, breaking down all the news, but the Discord, up to date news. We have all the information and we're kind of breaking it down as this stuff breaks live. Let's see. Doc Rivers said the rest of just about the COVID stuff. They have 10 players. So if Embiid and Korkmaz are out, they only have 8 players tonight.
Yeah,
That's
only
enough to
8.
play, though, right?
That's enough
That's
to
enough
play.
to play.
Yeah.
They'll be right on the
Definitely
number. 8's the number. So if Embiid and Korkmaz sit, they only have 8 available guys. So that's something that everyone needs to pay attention to, because that's going to be a very, very thin rotation.
All right. Well, listen, Spencer S is telling us to chill, but Spencer, I mean, hey, you're the one who called it out, but we're not. Hey, listen, Doc Rivers, we're nice over here at Run Pure Sports. Doc Rivers, he's not. He's going to hold you hostage up until lock. We're not going to hold you hostage, but maybe we will next time. We'll have to see. But that's going to wrap it up for us, guys. Check out the final countdown with Holden, Bobby Gomes, Draft Cheat coming up next. That's it for us, though. For me, Mangone, Hoop, and AP, we will see you guys later.